morning and welcome to After GMS. I'm Tracy McCain here with meteorologist Christian Morgan and Megan Malaris. It is Friday, August 19th.
Come on in, join us. We are live here on the WFMY Facebook page, seeing several of you starting to tune in, some of our regulars and some new faces, so hello to you. Let's start with our forecast. Going to be all in all a nice weekend, even though we might have to dodge some rain.
Yeah, the temperatures are still super comfortable. Actually, it's been over a week since we were above 83 degrees in the Piedmont. Remember how hot the beginning of August was? There you go. First week and a half of August was really hot. Consecutive 90-degree days, one after the other. And then now, the second week and a half of August, now almost a full continuous week, has been much cooler than average. I don't think anybody's complaining about that. Beautiful morning across the Piedmont as you start out in the 60s with a partly cloudy sky. High pressure that's been sitting overhead, though, is going to start to move offshore. And that cold front that moved by a couple days ago has kind of been hanging out down to our south. And it's going to start to move back to the north as a warm front. As it does, an area of low pressure tracking along that front will move by just to our south and east tonight through your Saturday morning. So it does increase our cloud cover this evening and does at least bring in some moisture, giving us the chance for a few showers. A couple of those could be a little on the heavy side as we go into this afternoon and this evening. Although I think the wetter evening of weather is going to be to our south and east over towards the Raleigh area. Still wouldn't rule one out, though, as you go into those high school Friday football games this evening. All those games should be able to get in, though, with no problem. Heading into your Saturday, that area of low pressure is a good ways away from us out over the ocean. So I think Saturday is trending to be a drier day of weather. Still not ruling out an isolated shower, maybe a thunderstorm, but I do think the better chance for that is going to come on your Sunday. So here's how Futurecast plays things out. Notice as we go throughout the afternoon, you see a couple of those showers popping up, but hard to tell where they're going to be, but I don't think there will be very many of them. Same kind of story for your Saturday, but as you see, as you go into your Sunday, we do start to see some showers and storms scattered about, bubbling up as we get into the afternoon and evening hours, so we'll watch for that. Here's the plan for today. Clouds will build heading into the afternoon. We're back up into the low 80s this afternoon. Humidity is still not crazy, but you will notice it a little stickier outside this afternoon, especially as we go into your Saturday too. And then we'll keep an eye out for a few of those showers. Game of the week, Friday football fever. It's Dudley at Page tonight. Other than maybe dodging a shower, temperatures will be comfortable for football tonight, falling through the 70s with a mostly cloudy sky. That kickoff this evening is at 6:30. There's your weekend. Typical summertime stuff, scattered pop-up showers and storms possible both days. The humidity is back, but the crazy heat is not. Low 80s for your Saturday and Sunday. Meanwhile, I thought I'd update you on this, checking on the tropics. Things have been relatively quiet, but there is an area of low pressure just emerging out of, we're really into the southwest Gulf of Mexico now. It's out over water. We'll have the chance, about a 40% chance of development over the next couple days, but it's not going to have a lot of time here. So it could become a tropical depression over the weekend, but regardless of that, I don't think it's anything that the U.S. and especially us in the Carolinas need to be concerned about. Things will likely get busier, though, heading into September. There's your 7-day forecast beyond the weekend. The scattered rain and storm chances continue into Monday. After that, we're drying out a bit by the middle of the week. We're back to the mid-80s, but it's still below average for this time of the year by Tuesday and Wednesday.
Well, it is National Aviation Day, something all North Carolinians can be proud of course. Aviation, such a founding part of our state's history.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and take flight into our history. 119 years ago, Orville and Wilbur Wright achieved the first successful airplane flights at Kitty Hawk. Well, the brothers' first flight lasted only 12 seconds, but as the story goes, they chose to fly from Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, because of the steady winds, the high sand dunes, and limited obstructions, including trees.
In 1939, President Franklin Roosevelt proclaimed August 19th to be National Aviation Day because it is Orville Wright's birthday. All right, so pretty cool here to celebrate that. By the way, drop on our feed if you have a pilot in your family or if you are certified to fly. We'd love to know and hear about your experiences. Always made me a little nervous to consider pursuing a pilot's license. I know my father-in-law had one a while back, and I remember my mother-in-law talking about it, saying it made her nervous wreck, seeing him up in those airplanes. But really cool, and we've been able to feature several pilots over the years here in our coverage. I remember an amazing story I did a while back about a pilot who was quadriplegic from an accident, and he was able to utilize this incredible training program to be able to fly an airplane using part of his one hand and his chin, and it was just amazing.
Wow, that's incredible.
So just the support you get in our state to be able to pursue your dreams of aviation is awesome.
I've always thought it'd be something cool to do. I've always had a fascination with flying. I love flying. I love taking a plane somewhere. And I've always thought it'd be cool to have my private pilot license, you know, just go up whenever you want to, and also to see weather from a different perspective. You know, I see it from down here all the time.
Right.
The only time I ever get to see it above is when I fly commercial somewhere, and you're way up above it at
In
that
coach.
point. Yeah, in coach.
Right.
As I try, hey, move over, let me get out of the window seat. So I've always thought it'd be
a
cool
good
in
spot.
that regard. Yeah, it does take a lot of time. It takes a lot of studying, and you have to put in the work for that, and then you also have to put in the hours with somebody and get those flight training hours. So it is not an easy or quick thing to do. But
And it's not cheap either.
And it's not cheap either.
Very expensive. Yeah.
But I've always thought it'd be something cool to do, and they actually do those flight lessons out in Winston-Salem at Smith Reynolds Airport out there.
Yeah. I have never had an interest in learning how to fly, but I am super encouraged by the ways that people and young people can get involved in those career paths. Even as early as today, we have a couple of flight schools in Guilford County and Winston-Salem, Forsyth County schools. I'm sure there are others in the triad, but they're teaching high school students how to fly, how to fix planes at an early age, so that when they graduate from high school, they can then enter a career or pursue a four-year degree in engineering or something like that, and make some really big bucks.
Yeah.
So that's encouraging.
Really cool. I'll point this out too. Joanne mentioned here that she worked for Piedmont and then American Airlines. So if we have folks watching that have lived in this area for a long time, you remember Piedmont Airlines. My dad is from Salisbury, and so the National North Carolina Transportation Museum is there. And in the big warehouse, they redid that, over the last decade. And there is a Piedmont Airlines plane that's actually hanging in that building now. They had it in pieces and restored it, and then brought it in and then put it together inside the building. It's really, really neat.
Yeah. There's an aviation museum in the Triad as well. So and the name is escaping me, but I've done a few stories on it.
Down in
and
Asheboro.
It is in Asheboro.
I was thinking so, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to say, just in
Yeah,
case.
it's in Asheboro.
Okay, great. I figured you would chime in.
You knew I knew that.
But it's full of great history, and even some of the first pilots' jackets and tickets that were handed to passengers. So it's just a great place, and I don't know if it's accepting tours right now because of COVID, but I'll have to look up that information. It's just another great part of living in the Triad.
Yeah.
Smithsonian also has some great exhibits related to aviation as well. If you're ever in DC, might be something to check out. Melita said one of her boys learned to fly in high school.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible, because we had that story today about the 17-year-old pilot, one of the youngest on record, getting his license. Pretty amazing. Obviously, as you said, you work really hard. I love some of the programs, Tracy mentioned those that our local colleges are doing to encourage these careers in aviation, not only to fly the planes, but also to land them, to do some of the engineering work behind these flights. Avionics is a big program, popular at GTCC. Really cool to go into some of those flight simulators and try to literally land the plane from the ground. Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't do it at this point.
A lot of patience and a lot of practice, as you said.
A lot of patience and practice.
Awesome. So great first conversation. If you have a pilot in your family, give them a little extra shout out today on National Aviation Day. Let's get to your morning headlines, and then we have another talker coming up. We'll start with this. The state's weekly COVID spread map is not worse, but it's also not getting better. So this was the map last week. A lot of orange, meaning the high level of spread. Alamance County was in yellow, the medium level, and Caswell in green, the lowest level of spread. A couple of changes, though, this week. Statewide, we went up to 7 green counties instead of 3. Caswell is no longer one of them. It's now yellow. All other counties have held steady in their spread. Alamance still yellow. Guilford, Forsyth, Randolph, Davidson, and Rockingham are orange. Again, that high level of reported spread. The number of monkeypox cases in Guilford County has nearly doubled in the last week. The total now stands at 11. Health experts say it is important to remember there have been no deaths from this virus in the U.S. The biggest issue people are reporting is those painful characteristic sores.
Mount Zion Church in Greensboro is helping students get ready to head back to school. The church plans to give away free backpacks filled with school supplies tomorrow. More than 1,000 students can get a book bag starting at noon, and families can go straight to the Barber Nails and Beyond store on Westgate City Boulevard until supplies run out. Church members in Winston-Salem are also handing out book bags and supplies to school kids this weekend. The Greater Church of the Triad and Food Lion are partnering tomorrow to hand out hundreds of book bags and school supplies starting at 10 a.m. If you need one, head to the Food Lion located on Ronaldo Road in Winston-Salem. Volunteers will be out there until everything is handed out.
Well, speaking of school, heading back into session, or already for some of you, we're asking, what advice do you have for students and parents for the new year?
Think about this one a little bit, and while you type your answers, WFMY News 2's Denise McMiller has more on what Guilford County parents and students need to know ahead of the first day of school in just a few weeks.
Well, the acting superintendent of Guilford County Schools has laid out the 2022-23 school year plan. And parents need to be aware of two big changes. It's in transportation and school meals. For the past 2 years, all students were able to eat breakfast and lunch at school for free thanks to federal funding. That waiver has now expired. So in order for your child to get free lunch, they must fill out the meal benefits application. The district says even if you don't think your child qualifies, still apply. Now, the second big thing is transportation. The district is short about 53 bus drivers, so they will continue their partnership with city bus services in both Greensboro and High Point. Now, in order to ride for free, students must have a valid one card. GCS says using GTA bus services is just an option.
During the summer, you just heard that our transportation office was able to do some optimizing of bus routes, which will certainly help address the ridership and address bus driver shortages. We currently have enough drivers to provide transportation to all students who have requested it.
Now, the superintendent says some bus drivers will have to run double routes. If you have not already, go ahead and download the Here Comes the Bus app. It'll be up and running on the first day of school. It's the best way to track when and where a school bus is. GTA is holding an information session on Sunday from 2 to 3 at the bus depot on East Washington Street. They will talk about how to ride city buses and also give a tour. Now, Guilford County Schools also address teacher vacancies, mental health, and safety during their media briefing. You can get a full recap of that meeting on our website.
Right now you have some information. Let's talk about our question. What advice do you have for parents and students? We will take a look at what you all have to write. I know it's a little bit of a long explanation, more than we normally require, but Joanne already said, make good, faithful friends. Some will remain so for life. That's great. Thank you, Joanne.
So my advice for students would be to get the year off on a good note, no matter how the year prior went. And we know these past couple of years have been really challenging with COVID, the pandemic, a lot of remote learning, but now, you know, kind of feeling a little bit more normal this school year. So go in with a positive attitude, be willing to make new friends, participate in class, read the material, study hard. The tone you set at the beginning of the year can really stick with you for the rest of it. So I would encourage you to just get this year started on a good note. For parents, you know, my kids are still too young to be in school 5 days a week, but I would hope that a parent tells me in a few years to take one day at a time, give myself grace, and it's okay to eat leftovers during the week on those busy school nights.
I agree with that. I would say too, you know, just from my perspective, like Megan said, hit the ground running, get off to a good start. I always remember, you know, there was nothing more exciting than the first day of school, you know, and fresh utensils, a new book bag, you know, just kind of going in with the mindset of, you know, I'm gonna knock it out of the park this year. So go in with that mindset, you know, look ahead, be excited about things. You know, if there's something you want to do or something you want to participate in, whether it be sports or a certain club at school, you know, be excited about that and jump into that head first. You know, even though it might not be that time of the year yet, go find who you need to find, who's in charge of that. Tell them you want to be involved. Just have something to look forward to, and you know, like Megan said, have a positive mindset and the right attitude, and you know, go into it and say, hey, I'm gonna kill it this year. I'm gonna do a great job.
Did you have a pocket protector when you were?
No, I have a pocket square now.
Okay, I was just wondering because you're like, there's nothing like a fresh set of utensils.
There was nothing like a fresh Pilot G2 pen.
Oh,
black ink. Oh.
Did it have the eraser on it? Or,
No.
okay,
Oh,
not those. Okay.
Those
No.
erasable pens. Did they ever work? Mine did not.
Yeah,
I would
it
run out of
did.
ink after like a page. Wait, no.
Remember when gel pens
all
were a thing
smudged.
too?
They still are.
Everybody in the world had gel pens.
Yeah.
Pens, yep.
And now like tablets and laptops are the coolest.
I don't know. For some reason, I'm reading Pocket Protector.
No. No.
Okay.
And remember those little
That's okay.
those little things you would put on the loose leaf holes to like reattach them to your binder?
Oh yeah. The little like sticker
Yeah,
things.
they were like in demand. I mean, I remember kids like bartering over these like little things because their papers were falling out of the binders.
Right.
I remember
Trapper
working.
keepers were a thing.
I remember working the school store. That was always
Oh,
exciting too.
nice.
Fresh erasers. Pencil. Remember grippers were a
Here's the
thing
thing
too.
about fresh pencils.
Yeah, listen, there's nothing. Look, I love everything
What
clean
happened
and
in your
fresh and
life?
new.
I bet you that was the
like
best
it.
run school store. Everything was organized,
Yes.
priced.
It was the most
Fairly.
OCD school store you ever seen.
I'm
Everything
sure.
had a spot,
Right.
and if it got moved,
Yes. One of Christian's pet peeves is coming in and not finding the weather clicker where it should be.
Right.
It's always somewhere that it's not
it's
supposed
always
to be.
some obscure place around this building.
Right.
And what
There's
did I
a
tell you?
place for it.
What did I tell you yesterday? My mama always said, when you take the toys out of the chest, put them back in,
That's
or you
right.
don't get to play with them the next day.
Exactly. Right. And fortunately, you find it so that you can do your
I
forecasting.
find it.
But
as
you
our
shouldn't
producers
have to
are
go
like
look
5,
for it.
4, 3, and I'm like, I got it.
It is kind of funny. There was some great advice here. Speaking of advice for kids, one viewer, Belinda, she and I are on like the same wavelength this week, probably every week. But she said, parents, pray constantly and teach your children to pray over themselves also.
Oh, that's great.
I 100% agree with that. We pray for our children, obviously every day and night. But in this era of violence in schools, and not only just in schools, but you never know what can happen on the way to school, like an accident. You never know who is potentially trying to do someone harm, and maybe you're in the crossfire, and maybe you don't make it home. And it's just so important to hug your children, love your children, and pray for them, because you don't know what's going to happen day to day, and life is so short. So yes, Belinda, I agree with you. Pray constantly over your family, your friends, but especially the children, because life is just way too precious. Okay, that's it.
Love that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you bring up a good point. There are a lot of parents who are really, really nervous about the school year for obvious reasons based on recent events, and they're terrified. So, if that's you, it can be helpful to talk to somebody about that, someone who has experience and has gone through the process, and, knowing that for the most part, your children are safe in schools. And for some kids, school is safer than home. And that's the reality of the situation sometimes. So Jay said, as a school social worker, parents, start preparing your children now, be involved in their lives. Melisha said, send kids off with a positive attitude every day. Dana said, from the perspective of a former school administrator, actively check your child's portal to see their grades, have an active, positive relationship with teachers and their counselors. That's a really good point too. Sometimes we hear these stories about teachers and parents clashing over their different approaches, and I think it's important as parents, sometimes we do take a step back and let the teachers do their job.
Yeah.
Obviously, if there's a problem that needs to be addressed, you address it. But we got to give them a little grace too, they're dealing with a lot.
Right.
On a lighter note here, Precious McCoy said, parents, be sure to go have lunch with your elementary school children. And now that they're allowing that again, it is definitely worth it. I had a lunch with my son, Josiah, for the first time one spring day last spring, and it was so great just to have him introduce me to all his friends, and just to be so proud. And it wasn't, oh, this is Tracy McCain from News. This is my mom, guys. This is my mom. Isn't she so cool? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm cool, And just to, and I brought lunch for the whole school, for the whole classroom. I didn't realize that you're not supposed to do that.
Whoops.
So we had extra Chick-fil-A.
Well.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty fun, but.
Yeah, do it now. Do it now until before they get in middle school, and then you're not cool anymore for a period of time.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I was definitely the cool mom that day. And then I'm sure another kid's parent came in the next day and they were the cool.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah?
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, that's just, I mean, it's on a lighter note, but it's the little things that make a difference in a child's view of school. You know, it's not just, you know, hard work and, you know, go home, do more hard homework, and then go to bed and just repeat. I mean, you can put some great fun and memorable moments into each, you know, child's school day just by doing something small like that. Yeah.
Great one.
Well, I feel inspired.
Why?
It's been several years since we've been in school, so this is great advice, though, for all of us, just to keep that positive attitude, and let's make it a great year for everybody, not just our students.
Yeah.
All right. We do have some programming changes to let you know about today. The Carolina Panthers, as we've said, play the New England Patriots, and I'm ahead of myself. I'm sorry. We jumped over weather, Christian.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm so excited to talk about this game.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's get to this, and then we'll have a final forecast. The Panthers play the New England Patriots in their second preseason game, and this is going to be a good one if a practice is any indication.
Yeah.
It's certainly one to watch because we have seen the practices between the Patriots and the Panthers kind of go a little haywire the last few days. You know, a couple of fights. There have been 1, 2, 3 of them with some injuries, not only of players, but of fans. So this will be one to watch tonight here on WFMY News 2, your official home of the Carolina Panthers. Game time is 7 p.m.
So that does mean some of your other programming will slide. Wheel of Fortune will air at 10 o'clock, Jeopardy after that at 10:30, followed by WFMY News 2 at 11. A really good night for TV.
Good Friday night of TV, good Friday night of football, high school and pro.
Yeah, got you covered. Now it feels like fall, even though it's still very much summer, and we'll be back to mid-80s next week.
Yeah, mid-80s next week. Let me show you that 7-day forecast real quick. We get back to the typical summertime stuff over the course of tonight through the weekend. Chance for a pop-up shower or a thunderstorm each afternoon. I think the better chance for that comes on Sunday. We have the humidity, we have the rain and storm chances. We just don't have the crazy heat. Low 80s today, low 80s over the weekend. That'll continue into Monday. We're a bit drier by Tuesday and Wednesday. Back to the mid-80s Tuesday and Wednesday too, but that's still below average for this time of the year.
All right, we had to make our way back. It's kind of like, ta-da!
I detoured off.
The magic of, the magic of television. All right, well, we are magically going to say have a great weekend.
Yeah.
And we will see you back here on Monday.
All right.
Take care.
See ya.